Red Long Logbook here for chapter 44 of Wistoria. And we actually start off in a flashback. We get to see how the puppeting magic works, how Ball is able to take over another mage. And the way they do that is by basically going into your mind and breaking you with your darkest pains in your life. Currently for Emma, it is the fact that her brother died and she wasn't able to save him. In fact, she feels guilty that she abandoned him to die to save herself. And basically, Ball encourages her to give up on herself and surrender to him because her life isn't worth anything because she would sacrifice her own brother to save her own. And she does this. She does give in to Ball. As we return to the present and Ball appears in front of them, the scent of those flowers really begin to waft in the air, and it disgusts both Will and it's a really putrid odor. Leanna then points out that all the mages that were puppeteers were executed because this is clearly an illegal magic art that you should never use, and Ball mocks her by saying, "Obviously, I'm good at escaping." Will then starts asking if she's a member of Gothica, and Ball's response is basically, "Oh, very smart, very clever. You, even in this situation, you're able to ask questions, and so you're just gonna try to dig, and try to ask as many questions as possible. Well, let's see which one of us is actually smarter, huh, kid?" That's when Emma fires off her wind, but it's darkness. So basically, Ball's ability isn't just to control someone, it's to infuse her own magic into another. Will and Liana then charge forward. Liana tells Will to take care of Emma while she deals with the dark mage, and at this moment, their shadows start to attack them. Chains start just ripping out of both of their shadows to rip them apart, but they're able to outrun them. That's when Ball then comments that lightning mages are basically his mortal enemy, because usually a surprise attack like that usually kills someone, but for a lightning mage, they have a tendency just to route run. His surprise attack, like both Liana and Will are doing right now, funny enough, he doesn't realize that Will isn't a lightning mage, but he sees the uniform, so he assumes. After outrunning the chains, Liana is then able to do her attack, fires several lightning bolts at Ball, but he uses Emma as a shield and has her cast her magic as a way to block. And Ball starts to mock how it's much better to have a puppet than a guardian, because a guardian uses up your own magic. The puppet, nope, they're using their own magic the entire time, so it doesn't drain her. Will's disgusted by the fact that Emma is being used as a shield like this, but he has to be able to engage somehow. It's not like he can cut through her core like a real guardian. He has to take her down without actually hurting her. Ball then does a big attack of darkness that forces everyone back, but both Emma and Will are able to outrun it as they do. That's when the two of them come to the conclusion that they make a great team, for the simple fact that they're both close-range fighters, and so they know exactly what the other is going to do because, well, it's what they would do. Ball then forces Emma to create her guardians, which are 4 knights made of wind, and it becomes pretty clear that the way Ball fights is by outnumbering his opponent with his puppets and then using his puppets to create guardians and just overwhelming with sheer volume. Liana then gives Will a portion of her magic, and the two then transform into complete lightning bolts and rip through all the guardians in an instant, and they are just going in, constantly attacking Ball, but Emma of course uses her wind to protect him. I keep switching between him and her whenever I'm doing this interview. The thing about Ball is I don't know what the fuck it is. Anyway, Ball starts to freak the fuck out because she's never faced anyone this fast, even in the lightning faction. She then tries to use her shadow chain thing again, but Liana starts chopping that to pieces. In fact, both Liana and Will start chopping up the chains that are connected to Emma, bit by bit. Ball realizes what they're doing, tries to stop it, but it doesn't matter. In the end, Will is able to shatter the last chain, grab Emma, and both him, Liana, and Emma are able to retreat backwards. They then declare that Ball is completely lost because now they've lost their hostage puppet. There's nothing they can do to win this. Not just that, but then Julie's friends with a bunch of high mages just appear out of nowhere. Basically, they've all been waiting in reserve until they were able to free Emma from the control of the puppet master, and when that happened, that's when all the high mages would show up to take on the puppet master. Ball then starts to laugh their ass off, and Liana's like, "What are you laughing for?" And the response is quite simple, because you're a bunch of idiots. That's when all the high mages just blast Julie's friends with darkness magic. And Liana's like, "Wait, that doesn't make sense. They're not covered in chains. How were you able to control them?" And Ball starts to laugh even more and explain that the chains have nothing to do with controlling them. Yeah, the chains are really just an aesthetic thing that she likes to use. What really controls them is the scent of those flowers. So whatever this mind manipulation ability is, it's similar to that of a drug that is produced using those flowers. That's why she was having Emma collect them for her. Not just that, but Ball has been in this tower doing this for a while now. The trader that opened up the gate during the festival, that could have been any one of these mages, because Ball has an entire army of them in the tower under her control. That's when all of the high mages then start firing darkness magic at Will and Liana. Liana's able to dodge, but Will has to protect Emma, and he's doing everything in his power to do that. But then, once again, the chains have nothing to do with controlling the puppet, which means when they broke all the chains connecting to Emma, that didn't actually sever Ball's control of her. And so, she points her wand directly in Will's back, and as he's turning around to block that, Emma says, please just run away, and then blasts Will with the exact same spell that was used to kill Julius. Will is shot directly into a building, unmoving, with Liana screaming his name and Ball laughing their ass off at the fact that Will just got annihilated by the very person he was trying to protect. And that is how the chapter ends off. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, give a thumbs up so you enjoy more Wistoria and other things. Thank you, and have a great day.